Hey everyone, my name's Justin, I'm an alcoholic. I would like to thank Reach Church for having us and Zach Bibbs for inviting me. Man, this was on my fear inventory. Facing fears, you know? I'm thinking about putting this to my heart but I have recovered contingent on my spiritual well-being. So that can go back and forth. If I'm in reliance of my higher power, I'm in a state of serenity and peace, loving and tolerant. If I'm going off of ego and pride, I'm in delusion, I'm in fantasy, I'm inconsiderate, I'm dishonest, self-seeking, self-centered. So just like Hayden was saying, you know, that transition was very difficult. I was an atheist my entire life, you know, so surrendering to a power greater than myself and to be spiritually well was very difficult for me. When I got into the rooms of AA, I was absolutely broken. I couldn't look anyone in the eye. I couldn't speak. I was suffering from a spiritual death, an emotional death, and a mental death. And I didn't know that. I had no idea what that was. I mean, it blew my mind learning about what I suffered from and what the world suffers from to a large degree. Alcoholism, addiction, and neuroticism is the same thing, right? We all might have a certain crutch. It could be codependency, it could be food, it could be sex. And mine was a chemical substance, and it worked for a long time. It worked for 12 years, 10 of which I was on something called MAT. And those 10 years, I lived a comfortable life. You know, I was numbing my pain, but I was numbing my joy. I had friends die. I had friends that got married. Didn't feel a thing. Stuff in my emotions. And like I said, it worked for a time. And I would say the last 3 years, and excuse me, I forgot to qualify myself. My sobriety date is July 2023, July 27, 2023. I'm going on 9 months sober. And thank you. 31 years old, and I would say those last 3 years, I remember each year that went by, like, this year seems worse than the last year. This, you know. And I was doing everything but deal with the problem, my affliction. I was working out excessively. I was doing all these grandiose things to try to fulfill that void that the chemical substance was failing to do slowly. And that's where you hear about a rock bottom. And a rock bottom is spiritual death, mental death, and emotional death, which follows physical death. So I went to RCA in Devon, PA, and followed by a 10-month in outpatient rehabilitation. And I remember when I got engaged with the fellowship, I met my sponsor, James. And I remember meeting James. He was very friendly. He came up to me, he gave me his number, and after the meeting was over, he sent me like a long text. It was like pages, you know, about like encouraging me to like, you know, this is work, this is, you know, and I remember looking at the text, I was like, I'm never gonna meet, I don't, keep me away from this guy. And I even went to a different fellowship after that. And I was just like, keep me away from this guy. But I was sober, but I wasn't sober-minded. I was suffering from the affliction, right? Because you can be sober, but you can still be suffering. And I would call James. His text, when I would read it and give it some credence, made sense and was very logical. And so I would call him in a state of suffering and pain. And he always would he had solid advice, and it always made sense. And so I think like 3 weeks went by, and he was like, you know, we got engaged in sponsorship, and boy, was that the best thing that I ever did. He put my hand in a higher power's hand, and I fought it the whole way. I was rebellious the whole way. I'm going to speak about home group too a little bit, and why that's important. Now, for me personally, being engaged in a home group is a situation where it's not clear in the beginning and may not be clear for someone that is getting clean or sober for a while. But as time goes on and your mind becomes clear, having a home group becomes a multifaceted benefit in your sobriety. One, it teaches you to become accountable, to become of use and service to others. It allows you to build relationships and socialize, right? I mean, when I came to the rooms, I isolated for 10 years, essentially. I had no friends. I didn't know how to talk to people. I acquired weird mannerisms and social graces, or weird mannerisms, you know? So being in a home group, you slowly begin to you get to know people, you know, and you get to build trust. You get to make relationships, and that's very foreign to us. You know, we rely on ourselves for most of our lives, and yeah, I knew I would blank out like this. So, yeah, the home group was very beneficial to me. And let's pull this up. Yeah, man, this is wild, surreal. Speaking on stage. Thank you. So, man, working this program, I'll go into a little bit more about myself, I guess. It's allowed me to live by principles, you know, humility, integrity, responsibility, honesty, awareness, fearlessness. You know, I take action in my life now where I used to live a comfortable life, even though it might have been causing me pain. Maybe it was a job I didn't like, you know, and I would just deal with it. And now I'm taking action in my life through this journey and through reliance on higher power. Like, I'm not consumed with fear, which is beautiful. You know, like being in a state of fear is, it holds you back. And it's been a great journey. Okay. Thanks for letting me share.